we're going to review multiplying decimals. Decimals can be multiplied, but they follow different rules than adding and subtracting of decimals. Before we actually look at a decimal problem, let's take a minute and let's look at multiplying some whole numbers. So I've got 125 times 6. We're going to multiply taking that 6 and multiplying by each digit in our top number. 6 times 5 is 30. So we write a 0 and we carry a 3. 6 times 2 is 12 plus 3 is 15. So again, we're going to regroup. 6 times 1 is 6 plus 1 is 7. So that gives us 750. You guys have done this for a long time. That part should be easy. So then let's look at what happens when you multiply 208 times 14. We're going to start off that same way. I'm going to begin with the 4. 4 times 8 is 32. So we add a 3 to the top. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 3 is 3. 4 times 2 is 8. I'm done with the 4, so I need to move over here to this 1, which means I need to put a 0 placeholder here. And then I'm going to multiply just like I did with the 4, but I'm also going to keep all of my numbers lined up neatly. 1 times 8 is 8, 1 times 0 is 0, and 1 times 2 is 2. Now I can add these together. 2 and 0 is 2, 8 and 3 is 11, 8 and 1 is 9, and then we have 2. So 2,912. I want you to take a minute and pause the video here and go ahead and work out this last problem. Okay, you should have gotten 133,299. Check line by line, this line, then this line if you need to. If you have both of those correct, then that means that you added incorrectly. If you need to fix any of your mistakes, please do so. So when we multiply with decimals, we're going to multiply the digits as usual, and we're going to ignore that decimal point for the beginning. We're just going to line them up and multiply like we would if any other problem was given to us. But then at the end, we'll take care of that decimal point. The product will have the same number of digits behind the decimal as the multiplicand and multiplier combined. So let's look at what that means. Remember, this dot is telling us that we're multiplying. So we're going to take 46.7 and we're going to multiply it by 16. I'm lining up my digits. I'm not worried about the decimal point. And then I'm going to multiply like normal. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 6 is 36. Plus 4 is 40. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 4 is 28. I add my 0 and I move over to the 1. 7, 6, 4. I'm going to add these together. 2, 7, 14, and 7. I have one digit behind the decimal points in my problem. So that means I need to have one digit behind the decimal point in my answer. So that's going to give me 747.2. All right, so now this next problem, we're going to go back and we're going to follow the directions that they gave us. It's asking us to just see how many digits we would have behind the decimal in our solution. Well, let's count up how many digits are behind decimal points in our problem. We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means there would be 4 digits behind our answer in our problem. I want you to take a minute and look at the next two and see if you can figure out how many digits will be behind the decimal point. Pause it right here and give it a try. All right, check your work. Did you have these correct? I hope you did. We're going to skip through this for now, and let's come back here to these problems. We're going to work through these really quickly together, and then you are going to work through these other problems. So we're going to take 6.8 and we're going to multiply by 3. We're going to follow our normal process You'll notice I didn't worry about a decimal point in the 3. I just set my problem up like I would if there were no decimals at all. 3 times 8 is 24. So I'm going to put my 4 and regroup my 2. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 2 is 20. I have 1 digit behind the decimal point in my problem, so that means I'm going to have 1 digit behind the decimal point in my answer. So we get 20.4 as our answer. Let's work out the next one. We have 15 times 0.7. That 0 in the ones place does not offer any value, so I can leave this off. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 3 is 10. I have 1 digit behind the numbers in my problem, so that means my answer is also going to have 1 digit. So that gives us 10.5. Now I have this 0 I'm going to leave off. I have 0.41 times 5. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 4 is 20. I have 2 digits behind the decimal point, so I'm going to put 2 digits behind my decimal point in my answer, 2.05. I want you to pause here, give all of these other problems a try, and then when you come back, I'm going to reveal the answers. All right, check your work. Make sure you have the right answers. If your answers are wrong, I want you to go back and retry. Pause the video here before you switch to the word problems to check your work. All right, here's your word problems. Check your work. Make sure you set up your problems correctly. Number 18 is a little tricky because what happens when you multiply is you get 3 digits behind the decimal point. Well, with money, we always have 2 digits. So we have to round this last part of our answer so that we round to the nearest penny. So since this is a 5, that means we have to go up, so it would be $4.48.